The Hanseatic League, commonly referred to as the Hansa, was a powerful trading network that played a pivotal role in the economic, social, and political life of medieval Europe. The League was a confederation of merchant guilds and market towns that stretched across northern Europe, from the Baltic to the North Sea, establishing one of the most effective trade routes in history. While the League's primary goal was economic cooperation, it also exerted significant influence over political and military matters, shaping the development of European urban life and commerce during the Middle Ages. This essay explores the origins, development, and impact of the Hansa trade routes, as well as their eventual decline. Origins of the Hanseatic League. The roots of the Hanseatic League date back to the 12th century, when northern European merchants began to band together for mutual protection against pirates and other threats. Initially, these alliances were informal and ad hoc, but by the 13th century, they evolved into more structured organizations. The League's name, derived from the Middle Low German word Hansa, meaning guild or association, reflects the cooperative nature of these early trading partnerships. The League's origins can be traced to the German towns of Lübeck and Hamburg, which became major centers for trade between the Baltic and North Seas. Lübeck, in particular, played a crucial role as a gateway between northern Germany and Scandinavia, Russia, and the rest of the Baltic region. By establishing trading outposts, known as kontor, in cities like Novgorod, in modern-day Russia, Visby, on the island of Gotland, and Bergen, in Norway, the merchants of Lübeck and Hamburg laid the foundation for a vast commercial network that would soon span much of northern Europe. Development and expansion of the trade routes. The Hanseatic trade routes extended across a vast geographic area, encompassing modern-day Germany, Poland, the Baltic states, Scandinavia, the Low Countries, and even parts of England and Russia. These routes allowed the League's merchants to transport a wide variety of goods, including timber, grain, fish, salt, furs, and textiles, as well as luxury items like spices and wine. The League's trade was based on the exchange of bulk goods, which were shipped in large quantities across the Baltic and North Seas. At the height of its power in the 14th and 15th centuries, the League controlled trade in a large portion of northern Europe. Lübeck, as the leading city of the Hanseatic League, served as the central hub of this vast trading network. From Lübeck, goods were transported along the Baltic Sea to cities such as Riga, Tallinn, and Stockholm, and from there further inland to the rest of Europe. The North Sea routes, on the other hand, connected the League with important trading partners in England, the Low Countries, and even France. One of the key advantages of the Hanseatic League was its ability to operate across national and linguistic boundaries. The League's members were united by a common interest in trade, rather than by national or regional identities. This allowed the League to maintain a high degree of independence from the political authorities of the regions in which it operated. In many cases, the League was able to negotiate favorable trading agreements and privileges with local rulers, allowing its merchants to operate with a significant degree of autonomy, political and military influence. In addition to its economic power, the Hanseatic League also wielded considerable political and military influence. The League's merchants were not merely passive traders, they were also active participants in the political life of the cities in which they operated. Many of the cities in the League were governed by merchant oligarchies, which sought to protect and promote the interests of their members. The League itself often acted as a quasi-political entity, negotiating treaties and alliances with foreign powers, and even waging wars when necessary. One of the most notable examples of the League's military power was its conflict with the Kingdom of Denmark in the late 14th century. The Danish crown had sought to assert control over the Baltic Sea, threatening the League's dominance in the region. In response, the League formed an alliance with several northern German princes and launched a series of naval campaigns against Denmark. The conflict, known as the Hanseatic War, culminated in the Treaty of Stralsund in 1370, which confirmed the League's dominance over Baltic trade and forced Denmark to grant significant concessions to the League's merchants. The League also played a crucial role in the political development of many northern European cities. As the League grew in power, many of its member cities gained a high degree of autonomy from their respective rulers. In some cases, the League's merchants even took control of the local government, as in the case of Lübeck, which became a self-governing city-state. The League's cities were often characterized by a high degree of civic pride and a strong sense of identity, which helped to foster the development of a unique urban culture in Northern Europe. Economic impact. The economic impact of the Hanseatic League was profound. By controlling the flow of goods between the Baltic and North Seas, the League helped to integrate the economies of Northern Europe into a single, interconnected system. The League's merchants were able to take advantage of the region's natural resources, such as timber and fish, while also importing luxury goods from the Mediterranean and beyond. The League's trade routes also helped to stimulate the development of industry in the cities of Northern Europe. Many of the League's member cities became centers of production for goods such as textiles, leather, and metalwork, which were exported to other parts of Europe. The League's dominance of the trade in bulk goods also allowed its members to accumulate significant wealth, which was often reinvested in the development of infrastructure, such as roads, bridges, and ports. In addition to its economic impact, the League also played a key role in the dissemination of new ideas and technologies. The League's merchants were in regular contact with their counterparts in other parts of Europe, and they were often the first to introduce new innovations to the cities in which they operated. For example, the League is credited with introducing the practice of double-entry bookkeeping to Northern Europe, which became an essential tool for managing the complex financial transactions of the League's merchants. Decline of the Hanseatic League. Despite its many successes, the Hanseatic League began to decline in the late 15th and early 16th centuries. One of the key factors in the League's decline was the rise of powerful nation-states, such as Denmark, Sweden, and Poland, which sought to assert control over their own economies and territories. These emerging states often viewed the League as a threat to their sovereignty, and they began to challenge the League's dominance over trade in the Baltic and North Seas. The League also faced competition from other emerging trading powers, such as the Dutch and the English, who began to establish their own trade networks in Northern Europe. The rise of new technologies, such as the printing press and the compass, also made it easier for merchants from other parts of Europe to navigate the seas and establish trade routes independent of the League. By the 17th century, the League had largely ceased to function as a unified organization. Many of its member cities had either been absorbed into larger political entities or had chosen to pursue their own interests independently of the League. However, the legacy of the Hanseatic League can still be seen in the urban culture of many Northern European cities, as well as in the development of European trade and commerce more broadly. The Hanseatic League was one of the most successful and influential trading networks in medieval Europe. By controlling the trade routes between the Baltic and North Seas, the League's merchants were able to accumulate significant wealth and exert considerable political and military influence. Although the League eventually declined, its impact on the development of Northern European trade and commerce was profound, and its legacy can still be seen today in the cities and economies of the region.